Hi, it's Dawn, Red Barn Crafty Stuff. Welcome back. I've got a geometric pattern to draw today. I whipped out a bit more reliable compass than I normally would use. I have the ones that just don't pressure open and close, and I just twirled out some circles. I was in the process now of kind of knocking back some of these pencil lines so that they don't become an issue as I paint. But I don't want to knock it back too much because this is not a, it took me several attempts to get this right, and we're going to use the word right loosely because some of these circles don't exactly touch, like right here. But we're just going to fake it till we make it here. But I thought I would just show you real quick these lines before because sometimes on camera the pencil lines are tougher to see, even when they're pretty obvious to me. So I'm just wiping a few of these away, and I may have to squint, but I think it'll be better in the long run. I just hope all my practice attempts aren't going to confuse me later. And I'm going to use my my palette, my current palette love, which is this messy thing here, but it's giving me Roy G. Biv all the feels, and I'm loving it. So I'm going to take a little pipette and wet down. I prefer this to spraying. I don't, other people love to spray. You do you. I like the pipette better because then I can just wet exactly what I want. Doesn't wet the paper unless I'm being sloppy. And we'll have a little Roy G. Biv fun again. I love patterns. It's very relaxing. And yeah, so I'm going to wipe, I'm going to erase, let these activate, and I'll be right back. I'm getting started today with this Escoda 10. I've rediscovered this brush cleaning my studio. Amazing what happens when you clean. And so I'm going to see if this is too big. I mean, and we're going to start off with this, and if it's too big, you know, we'll pop back down to something smaller. But I was enjoying this and the last time I used it, so I'm going to go grab some I have some leftover Mother-ish from another watercolor practice I did, draw relaxation moment I posted recently. So I'm going to try to, it's a bit on the red side, but that's okay. I don't mind. I might add some more colors to it. There's a little purple. There's a little blue sitting here on the rim, and more stuff going down the side if you're not being careful. Let's see, what else could I do? You know what? I'm going to grab some neutral tint. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I've got some neutral tint here, Daniel Smith, and we're just going to plop this up here and use it as, yeah. Let it do what it do. All right, so I grabbed some Quin Coral, but now I'm gonna. Do I want to? I know it's wet out of the thing, but I really kind of want to tone that thing down a little bit. Well, I think I'm gonna do something odd for me and test. See, this is why we test. Wow, it was all neutral tint and zero Quin Coral. Zero quinacridone coral. All right, there's Quin Coral. Now let's just grab a skosh of tint. Okay. Okay, that's what we're doing. And I have never done something quite this intricate before, so we're going to do this together. And I'm going to try to go a little, my last piece, I went really full on pigment, saturated pigment, and I think I'm going to really try to tame this guy down a little bit. I enjoy both. It's just I'm going to go a bit more muted, which is probably why I grabbed the neutral tint. So I'm gonna, so in drawing these circles, it creates these flowers. And what I'm doing is just kind of painting out the petals of these flowers. Do I want to would you bib around the flowers? I don't know. I am in uncharted territory here. But isn't that what kind of makes it a little fun? Is when you just don't have any idea what you're doing, but you do it anyway? Okay, maybe not. Just me? Just me. Okay. This is Quinn Gold, I believe. Yep. And I'm going to make them touch. I may have over-erased. I was so afraid of pencil lines showing. I enjoy a line and wash. It's just, you know, when you do patterns like this, sometimes the lines are distracting. And yet maybe I need the lines to see what I'm doing. I don't know. Alright, now let's go grab a little Quinn coral and make them kiss. Right here. Hello, how are you? I do like that. I'm going to pull this camera down a little bit. Hang tight. We're going to sink into the abyss of watercolors. Okay, hopefully that's not too jarring. All right. I'm just going to grab colors. I'm just not going to sit here and worry about whatever, the orgy bib of anything. I'm just going to grab a little color and paint. And not get fuzzies in it. By fuzzies, I mean eraser fuzzies. Oh, that is a mustardy yellow for sure. Not a big fan. I saw somebody on YouTube do this. There's the video was a couple years old, and I should try to go back and find out who that person was and give them a shout out. But I thought, well, everybody's got a compass in their drawer. And as much as I struggle with freehanding things, this seems like this might be a good way to give me some lines without using a stencil. I don't know. It's kind of fun. All right, let's see. I think we need a little green over here. A little greenage could be warranted. A little green with a little neutral tint. Ooh, that's a lot of neutral tint. Let's get a little more green than that. I believe this is sap green for those of you playing the home game. Then I was thinking about making the inside like, I don't know, gold or something fun. I'm afraid I may have to go redraw these lines. The mini erasures of previous attempts are playing games with playing tricks on my eyeballs. Bloop. Bloop. This is Strathmore 400 series watercolor paper in a binder or in a book I made. I made this a couple years back, actually. Here's another one. Cleaning. Yep, cleaning. I found another one. It's huge. It's 9 by 13. All it has is the backer board on it for the moment, and then a little bit of book tape at the end. But they're lie flat, and I love having lie flat journals. As you can see here, then you can. There's no rings to push into your. Yeah, I love it. Love it. Okay, stop talking. More painting. Right. Problem with this is that when I'm doing Warji Biv in an order, I know what's next, or have a good idea what's next. When I'm doing this feels a bit rando. Oops, neutral tint, please. Well, that was blue. In fact, I think that's phthalo. But it sure doesn't look it by the time I got neutral tint in it. Okay, let's try one more time. One more with feeling for the cheap seats. Nope, we are going with this color. And I believe I'm going to have to redraw these lines. This is aggravating, not being able to tell which line I'm supposed to. I know, I should be able to just be a big girl and put my big girl panties on here, but I think I screwed this one up too. I think I made that petal too big. And that is not even close to blue. All right, well. Too much. Too much. Let's try this again. Yeah, no, that's just a big fat mess right there. Well, this is what happens when you get an amateur doing stuff for professionals. All right, I'm going to let this dry and I'm going to redraw some of these lines. And this right here, we're going to just pretend this little thing didn't happen because it's just going to drive me crazy. Well, I didn't redraw the lines even though I want to. I'm just going to go for it. Because, you know what? It's just for fun anyway. We're not going to get real worked up over this. Okay, maybe we'll get a little worked up over this, but just going to figure it out. I started trying to redraw the lines and it just was like, this is going to make me crazier. I know that sounds nuts, but yeah, I'm choking up on this Escoda here pretty good too. Just gonna have some fun. Remind me I said that. I'm trying to let myself be okay with loose, and that's not easy for me all the time. I find myself, my perfectionistic sensibilities kicking in. Insensibilities, I should say. There's nothing sensible about being a perfectionist. Yeah, I mumbled that one. Alright, let's pull some more red in. Let's go back to our friend Quinn Coral. A little more coral, a little less neutral. I think what I like about these patterns, oops, flubby, is that they are, once you get the pattern on the paper, they're pretty easy to sit and do kind of without thinking about it, and yet they produce really pretty results, which I'm all about that. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing some paper moving too, because I like to pull. I think I'll be trying some more of these though. Looking up geometric patterns that you can make, you know, with a compass. I think you can make just about anything, honestly, but I'm so sorry, I didn't even have time to pause the camera. I'm going to lift that back up just a little, and that was not great. Outside the lines. It's that challenge being perfected by this, my perfectionism being challenged. All right, I need something a bit more bold over here. Let's go a bit violet. Okay, that feels pretty good. Not sure that's my line there, but okay. All right. Let's see. Green, maybe? That was supposed to be red, but then I ended up with so much whatever was in my brush before, it ended up being more orange. Let's go down and see if we can play with a little bit of this one and a tippy tip of neutral tint. Okay, a little more neutral tint, please. Not sure that neutral tint is tinting. Okay. I really want some red. Okay. Oh, ask. Whew, man. I think that might be Quin Fuchsia right there. It's in the same well as my Quin Coral. That is very blue. Oh, pretty. Vibrant. Pretty vibrant. Yeah, I'm choking this pencil grip happening here on the edge of this Escoda. I know the Escoda people out there going, stop choking our brushes. I'm sorry. I think I need to go a little wider on that. Sorry, not sorry, because you know, you gotta do what you got to do. All right, let's go a little pinky pink here. No idea how I got this color. That's one of the drawbacks to doing these with this big mother and tint method, is that neutral tint, mother, and a palette that you don't clean, and a brush you don't clean, is that you get these happy accident colors that you may or may not be able to replicate in the future, but I'm willing to accept the consequences of that. All right, I think we need some yellow. I'm not a big fan of yellow, but it's screaming for something yellowy over here. Maybe. Now I want something full-on green. I need me some Cascade, and I don't mean the dish soap. In case you're new to my channel, I'm not a precision painter. I am self-taught and I'm a hobbyist. And I like to play with color. I like to play with patterns. And I like to paint for relaxation. And film the process as I go. All right. How about some quinacridone gold, a little neutral tint, tap into, I'm gonna have to stand for this one, I really am. Whoa, look at that. You see that spreading? That is so cool. So fascinating each and every time it happens. I would have thought that paint, because of how much water was there, was going to flood into this space. But I should have known that no, because the water is there, it went the other way. It pushed into the water. But that just shows you how new I am at this. Well, not new, but how untrained, that's the better word, untrained. Because an expert would have said, oh, you know what's going to happen here? And I didn't have a clue. But it's a surprise when it happens, and frankly, I like surprises like that. That's going to be an interesting color when it dries down to see what those two colors produce. Okay, let's go over here and play with something else. Neutral. Oh yeah. I like this color. And at the end, I could go over, I think if I remember from the video right, she went over all the edges in gold, like with a gold paint, but I could even use my gold Uniball and go over the edges and, you know, tidy up anything that's untidy. So that's partly why I decided not to redraw the lines, because it's like, well, yeah. Okay, what about an indigo, but really washed out, excuse me. Well, that's really washed out. Okay. My goal is to finish this book and just I'm not on some sort of race to finish the book. I'm going to pull it off the camera for a second. But I've been putting any number of things in this book. Oop, and hitting the camera is not great. But I've been doing color studies in it, and my goal is just to fill this book with color and to fill it with things that make me happy, and this makes me happy. So find what makes you happy. Not that I'm some expert on what makes me happy, because some days I don't know. Alright, I'm just going to go for, oh, didn't grab mother, neutral tint. But if I'm having doubts about what makes me happy, usually getting some paints out helps me figure it out. And not very precise there, Dawn. Don't care. Yeah, that was a deep sigh of satisfaction. I feel such deep satisfaction. That is Quin Gold with a little neutral tint, and that turned it to an umber. I swear to goodness, that is wicked how that does that. A lot of orange going on. I am trying to keep this a really pale value. Because the last couple I've done have been really rich. So I have to remind myself less is more. Which isn't a problem, but it bulks against the color, these gorgeous colors sitting in this pan screaming to come out and play in their full strength, of course. It's grand to be an Englishman in 1910. Can't say much more than that or I'll get in trouble. All these pencil lines are a little confusing, but you know what? We're just going to deal with it. It's going to be what it's going to be. Boy, that turned out kind of a limey, yellowy green, didn't it? Well, okay. I'm forgetting the neutral tint now and again, as you can probably tell, but I'm just going and picking up a little bit here and there, and that's just pushing pigment around. It's not watercolor. It's just pigment push. I don't like it when it does, when I do that. It doesn't do it. I do it to myself. You see that? Whoosh. You like that? Alright, I'll pick up a little violet. We'll go violet here. When I was a little girl, and this is back in the 60s, 70s, my grandmother had this doll that was probably my mother's, that she had saved, and I'd go see, well, there's no violet in that whatsoever. My goodness. And I'd go visit her, my grandmother, and she got out this doll, and the doll's name was Violet. And in particular, her name was Shrinking Violet. And she had the pull string in the back, and well, I am just not enjoying that color at all. So you know what we're going to do? I haven't done this yet, but we're about to. Yep, I did it. Yeah. I just painted my GoPro. Well, okay. We're going to clean the brush, which I don't do often. Now we're going to pick up a little neutral tint and a little violet, and we're going to try that again. Anyway, this doll would have these expressions. But to this day, I just go, wow, this was a popular doll. One of them was, I'm afraid of noisy boys. I'm afraid of noisy boys. So whenever I hear the name Violet or the flower, my brain goes back to that doll, and she probably had half a dozen silly, in my mind, to my mind today, silly expressions. Obviously, at the time, girls were thought to be, delicate, and this is in the 30s and 40s. Maybe this doll belonged to somebody else in the family, and it predates my mom even, but who knows? Shrinking Violet. All right. This is the problem, is I get stuck with knowing what color I should do next. When I don't do a Roy bib and like a left to right, whatever, I don't get stuck, but I go find myself like, I just did that color. I just did that color. I just did that color. What do I do next? All right, we'll go pink. Sure, why not? I'll grab a little neutral tint. See what that did not pick up any neutral tint there. 1 iota. It's gonna be like a lavender, I think. And now these other ones are a bit dry. I don't think they're gonna bleed into each other, but that's okay. Huh. Okay. It's a little underwhelming, that color. What do I love? I love a bit of red. I want to grab some more of the coral. I still have pink in my brush, and let's just see what we get down here. That's definitely corally. Let's grab some neutral tint. Dodge that a little bit. Also, too, as you start doing this pattern, you start to see it a little easier than when you're first beginning and you're trying to figure out where the lines go, etc. It becomes easier to see. All right, red. Let's grab some bright yellow. I couldn't regret this, but I don't know. A little neutral tint. Boom. Let's go here. Not bad. I think a little green over here might be nice. Oopsie. I was totally off camera for that. I really have to do a better job of paying attention to that. Okay. And now let's grab a teal. We love teal. We love teal. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're loving this. Definitely. Definitely. Well, this still has green or teal on it, and I just grabbed some orange, Queen Gold. So we're going to have a little bit of a mess. We're just going to embrace the mess. We're going to embrace the brown. I know I blotted out that other one, but embrace the brown. The neutral. Look at that red running into it. It's a nice little brown there. I made brown. Alright, let's go a bit brighter over here. Purple and yellow are not good friends, but hopefully that yellow is dried enough. It's not gonna commingle too much. Yeah. Pigment, grabbing neutral tint, and then not a big fan of yellow, and yet I find it it really does brighten up your piece to to an extent that you really want to include it. At least I'm finding I want to include it, even though it's not my favorite color to paint with. I've been wanting to pull out my new gamboge because that's a warm yellow. That might prove fun. Yes, I use the word fun with watercolor. I really push that little point of color up in there just to like see who wants to mix and mingle. We'll find out. It's supposed to be Queen Gold, but again, it comes out kind of brown again. Oh, okay. Let's put some blues back in. Well, it's supposed to be blue, but it's more green. Could be because I got some orange on my brush and I just touched the yellow, and there you go. Color Theory 101. Alright, let's try for something a bit more dramatic blue. if we can make that happen. And it's more teal, but we will live with it. Yeah, fun colors. Started off kind of paler, and I'm getting bolder the further down I go. So much for that. So much for my... Alright, so you know what? I didn't get any more pigment. I just dipped this in water. Let's see if we can make a paler value of the one we just did. Yes, we can. Alright. It can be done. See? Now let's see if I can add another color to that little pale value and see if we can repeat that little. Try to be less jewel toned going on down here. And of course I touched that too much. Too much in the sense of I don't mind the pigments running in, but I want to finish the little petal before the other pigment invades. That's alright though. Okay. So we can get a real pale version of this. Alright, now what? Well, not the color I was expecting. Water that down and get it a real pale. Oh man, it's just hello. These petals are going to lack uniformity. We're just going to deal with it. Alright, I'm going to water this down, and I'm going to come over here and try to do a really super pale yellow. And it's going to look more puce from the look of it. Because I just had a lot of yellow still in my brush. And I was thinking, well, I'll just go put that pigment somewhere else. But, lordy mercy, that's an unpleasant color. Alright. He thinks me wants a little green. That's more than a little. That was a lot of green. Let's water that down a little bit. I almost want a little neutral tint in here to kind of bring that down a shade or two, an intensity or two. Alright. Now what? I think it's a little red, but I'll grab a little pink and a little neutral tint, and let's see what color we came up with. we're having some fun here. Playing with colors. Putting it on the page. Some of these are trying really interesting. Fun stuff, man. It's good to have a play with your things. Even if you just pull out a old notebook and just start playing. I like these notebooks I've made, these sketchbooks I've made, because I really, I used to save my watercolor paper for like important things, you know, and now I collage on them, and I find that I just like the substrate, the thickness of the paper. It makes me happy. And so, Dina Wakley used to make, and stopped making a while back, a really great mixed media journal. And it had in it watercolor paper and craft paper, and there was something, burlap. Was that it? Some heavy stock in there. I mean, I don't remember. There was a bunch of different stuff in there. And I always thought that book was fascinating, but I was always scared to use it. And I'm using that term loosely, scared. But it just felt like I didn't know how I was going to handle. I didn't know how I was going to handle the burlap. Anyway, you paint on it or whatever. And then I saw another creator. I think her name is Lali. And she made just all a watercolor notebook. And I thought, yeah, heck yeah, why not? Why not have a watercolor notebook, right? With watercolor paper, a sketchbook, whatever, with just watercolor paper in it. And who cares what you do in it? So it's kind of how I arrived here, was I made this thanks to Lali's video. It's on YouTube. You can, I'm sure I could find it and link it. And I made it, and I've made several now. In fact, I was thinking last night and did a little watercolor paper inventory to see. I think I've got some more paper, enough paper I can do a I think 2 more journals, because I use the 12 by 18, and then I just fold it in half to come up with a 9 by 12 book, which is what this is. I just like the size, but just you have to find your size. You have to find your size. And some people love the 5 by 8 or the 6 by 9. I love 9 by 12. It's a lot of real estate to cover. So I'm not gonna kid you about that. It's a lot of real estate to cover. Where do I want to go with red in my brush? All right, let's pick up some pink, I think. Ooh, it's gooey. It's drying up. All right. But it lets me spread out and not worry about working small. I don't like working small. But everybody's got their comfort level, so I think that's in the beginning as an artist. I struggled with, well, what is my comfortable size, you know? Is it small? I'm attracted to small things. And yet, journals and so forth. And yet, I won't use them. So I was like, well, wait, that's counterintuitive. I mean, if you won't use something that's small, why do you have it? Yeah, I'm going to come down here and pick up a little lavender. I know it's a mixing color. But I'm feeling the need to step outside my comfort zone here a little bit. And I had a whole lot of pink on my brush just now, still do. So now, oh wow. Well, there's some yellow in, I don't know if you could see that or not, but that was very interesting. Some yellow came out and some pink and some lavender and some blue. That's going to be a rainbow petal. All right, where are we going from there? I don't know. Let's just pick up this little corner of beauty. See if we can come up with a hodgepodge of something or other. All I'm doing now is I'm really not paying attention to the pencil lines anymore. Is I'm just connecting the two corners, and then going up here and connecting with kind of a rounded, slopey thing, connecting that piece. And then, wow, that's just gonna be mud right there, man. Woo, both of those are going to be mud. Muddy. Wonder if I ought to try to fix that or not. Good question, huh? Okay. You know what? I'm going to clean this brush out. I don't like to, but I'm not happy about these colors. In fact, I may pick up this one just because it's closer to me. And I don't dislike it, but I got two. And let me see if I can't just get a do-over, a mulligan. Question is, what color do I do over? No, I don't think that's it. How about green? Green on top of blue. That's probably my better choice. I'm going to have a little rim here, but I think that's better than whatever that mess was that I laid down there. And then didn't do any better of on the next one. I don't mind one muddy one, but nope, we're not doing two. All right, so that was green. If I go to red, I'll get brown. If I go to yellow, I'll get a little bit of a teal, I suspect, but let's see. Let's water this thing way down and see what we get. Oh, puce again. How do I keep managing to do that? I don't know. But here we are. Putrid. It's definitely a green gold. All right, let's pick up. I haven't picked up a little neutral tint in a little bit. Let's do that. Let's water this down too. See if we can't make this a little less in your face. Too late, it's in your face. Oh boy, is it ever. Oh, I didn't finish this guy up here. Here we go. We'll put a pale version of him. I got sidetracked. Got distracted. That never happens, does it? No. Alright, let's pick up some more neutral tint. Let's desaturate this boy and come down here. Huh. Neutral tint really turned that green. That teal went totally green on me. All right. Here's another thing I've been doing lately. I know, squirrel. I took a cheap notebook, a cheap watercolor notebook, and whenever I've got pigment on my brush that I don't want to ruin, or not ruin, but like rinse, I do this. La 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 la. Oops, I'm out of frame. And I rub it on here, and I just have it off here up to the side, and At the end, I may end up, it started with a brush that I had left in a palette that I found that was stuck to pigment. And when I used a little bit of water to get the brush out, a big glop of pigment was still attached to the end. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? And it was a big old piece of Payne's Gray. And that's what you see on that book. And so I pulled out that notebook and I thought, well, I could just, wet it and just keep rubbing it on some paper. And before I knew it, I had a scribble paper. And now I've been doing that. Whenever I have more pigment than I want, like right here, if I just want to pick that pigment up and say nope, instead of doing it on a paper towel, which is absolutely fine, I just grab this notebook and I go, hello, you get to live here now. And then at the end, when it's full, when all the paper is full, I have this heart punch. And I punch out hearts, because you'd be shocked at how cute some of these things are when you use a heart punch on it. And then you can put affirmations on them or journaling prompts or whatever. But it's my way of not wasting pigment. Or at least coming up with something different to do with the pigment. So if you see my brush go off screen, it's because I'm over here filling in this book. And once it gets to a certain point, I'll flip the page and go to the next one. Okay. Where are we? We are here. We are here. We are here. All right. So what I'm doing now is I'm leaning back and squinting and going, what color am I not seeing enough of? I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of colors. All right. Let's start with a clean brush after all of that. Let's go a bit earthy green. Let's pick up some Cascade over here, but you can't see me. Oh, I just stuck my finger in pigment. Way to go. How not to do things. All right, let's be about this. Stop dilly-dallying. Stop your yakking. I think I'd like to do one all in green. It's my new. I'm in my green era. I've never enjoyed green that much before, but I am enjoying the heck out of it right now. I liked it fine, but I'm loving it. I love it. I've always been a turquoise and a blue, and I still am. Still love the turquoise. It is my first. It's like your first crush when you're a kid, right? You'll always have your first crush. But man, and because they're neighbors on the color wheel, green and turquoise, I mean, it only makes sense. But I also love blues. Let's do a nice blue right there, speaking of. And by nice, I mean, a phthalo. Or a Prussian. Those are really great blues, don't you think? Yeah, that's a pretty blue right there. I think I may have misshapen that petal. But do I care? No, I don't. Yeah, I'm going to put another one of those blues over here too and get a little more of that neutral tint. Put it over here. This is a big Mama Jama petal over here. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, what about a little violet? Now with this violet on my brush, I think I'm going to do is grab a little neutral tint and a little water and see if I can make a really lighter hue, shade, value, whatever. Insert proper technical term here that I've completely botched. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Picked up some Queen Orange on my brush and I don't want to put it anywhere, so now I'm putting it on my scribble book. Okay. Where are we now? Let's try a little of this. This meaning, I think this is Sleeping Beauty. Yep, it is. In the smallest little amount of I am going to touch that puddle, but what I'm going to do in the short term is go ahead and finish the rest of the petal before I touch the puddle. Ooh. Grab some more water to make this a bit more liquidy. Yep, there it goes. There she was. Okay. I feel like I need some red. You'll notice I have not grabbed opera. Yeah. Said what I said and stand by it. Oh Lord, I just think I made this purple by grabbing some too much neutral tint. Yeah, I did. There I go. I went and made it magenta. Well, drat. Okay, well, we'll just have to come back in with another red and another spot. I saw it happen as soon as I touched it. Like, dang. Now I just made it cold. I do tend to prefer the warmer colors over the cooler colors. But that's just me. I'm going to do this color here, watered down. I'm offloading the pigment on my scribble sheet. Okay. I might offload some of this water. So much water on there, dang. All right. Where do you want to go now? I don't know. Feeling like I need some more yeller feller. Okay. Well, all these petals are all a little different size and shape. And that's just my inability to use a compass properly. But hopefully if you give this a go. I did about 2-inch circles is what I was doing on mine. And I just, you know, lined it up 2 inches. But what I kept finding was that even though it has the twist wheel, on it, it was still like slowly changing, and it shouldn't. With a twist on there like that, it shouldn't twist. It shouldn't change at all, but it was. I'm sure it's user error, but that was just my experience with it. What if I did Quinn Gold with little Quinn Coral? What would we get? What if? And what if we went right here with it? Wow. Okay, let's get a little more water. I know I didn't pick up any neutral tint, but I just want to see. That right there, folks, is orange. Full on. I think I might have to grab a little neutral tint now to tone that thing down. That right there is some serious orange. That is pumpkin. I don't care who you are. That right there is vivid. Whew. Yep. It is what it is, man. Pretty. I'm going to water it down and neutralize it and bring it over here. think that's manganese hue, but don't know. What the heck? Thought I picked up Perylene green and neutral tint, but purple came out of that. Okay, there's the Perylene green. Weird. This petal is a little wonky. Okay, I'm going to water that down, pick up a little unknown green over here. My daughter was a little girl. I'd ask her if she wanted something for lunch, and she'd go, and I just did that very involuntarily. Our kids, aren't they wonderful? They just make such impressions on our lives. We'll forever have those phrases that only our family has. Every family has their own. When my sister was little, she couldn't say Frosty the Snowman. She said Cocky de Momo. To this day, 50 some odd years later, you'll catch us saying Cocky de Momo. My nephew, when he was little, he couldn't say remote control. He'd say commotro. And my brother, to this day, still says commotro. Everybody's family has those, right? Yep, they do. That was a little indigo and a little neutral tint. Okay, I've got 4 to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we got to figure out what's going in the middle ones. Because I think I want to do these diamond-esque shapes one way, and then these pillow, square, puffy pillows a different way. Or maybe I'm making all this the same. I don't know. The question is what? Yeah, don't ask me, because I don't have the answer yet. I really don't know, honestly. And that's not stressing me out. It's just a reality of I haven't come to that decision yet, so I'm not going to think about it. Cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay. How about some iron oxide yellow? And whatever's left on my brush of that red, which apparently is nothing much. All right. See, because there's a couple of ways you can look at these. Like, you can see these as a flower, but then you can also see like this, and this as a flower. Like, it's got 2 pink petals and a brown and a blue. It's supposed to be a violet, but it's kind of brownish. But anyway, yeah, interesting when you, depending on how you look at it, depends on how you see it. If this is a very folksy star or flower, but then if you look at that flower and you isolate it with those 4 petals and that being the center, it's a completely different, almost look like a windmill actually. Okay, two more petals and you're talking. I know, I'm not sure what I want my next petal to be. All right, when in doubt, go green. Cascade green to be exact. And a little yellow left on my on my brush. So it made kind of a limey green, a yellowy green, which is fine. And then the last petal will be, drum roll, this is Peacock Blue by Mission. I love this color, and I'm just going to use it straight up with a little bit of water. Oh, there you are. I've missed you. Okay, so I think the next thing to do is figure out the background color. I'm not going to do around the edges. I'm just going to do the diamonds and the puffy squares, but that's going to be our next decision. And now I need to think about what that color is going to be. I don't know. I'm going to back up a little bit. Okay. Do I do the same color or do I do different colors? And how muted do I want it to go? I could load up this with a whole bunch of I could load up this little flower palette. I could load up one of these little wells with a color. I think blue. I think a really pale blue. Maybe a really pale turquoise. Well, there's this little bit of here. What if I were to try to use some of that up? What if I were to... I'm spraying off camera. I think this is... I don't know what this color is. It could be phthalo blue. It could be some sort of Prussian blue. I don't know. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to mix all this. Ooh. Okay, moving it closer on camera. And this is really bright, so maybe I'll grab some neutral tint. We're experimenting on the fly here, people. I'm going to grab some neutral tint and put in here. Oh, this does not feel like a science experiment going well. This feels like a science experiment going badly. All right, let's grab some more neutral tint. Well, when in doubt, swatch, right? Well, that's about as bright a blue as you can get, even with neutral tint in it. Boy, you wouldn't be able to tell I put neutral tint in it, would you? All right. Well, there's a lot of water in there, to be fair. Let's add some more. And, yeah, why not? Let's pick up a whole big old gloppy piece. Except I got to stir slowly because I got that thing all the way to the rim. All right, let's see what we got now. Well, did it even touch it? Yes, obviously, but oh, look at the lint and the dust. Yuck. Okay, fixing that. All right, neutral tint. You're falling down on the job here, fella. All right, let's grab a significant amount now. Which I thought I already had done, but apparently no. This is highly saturated blue. Okay. Let's see where we are now. No better. But it is, all right. Let's do a little bit more. We're heading in the right direction. I really feel like, you know what? I have some graphite gray over there. I have never opened that tube of paint, ever. I'm I'm thinking that graphite gray is going to come out. I think we're going to pull it out and put it in one of these little clover leaves here and see. I'm offloading this color here. All right, graphite, where'd you go? I know I laid you out earlier. Here. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, I'm back. That was fast. Graphite gray. It is pigment PBK 10. All right. Hello, hello, hello. I hate it when you do that. Or when it does that. Ugh, I gotta clean that off. That's just gross. And then later when you go to get it, the cap open, it won't. Because it's all glopped and dried and caked on the inside of your cap. Nobody ever has that happen to them, do they? Yes, you do. I know you do. Okay. Cap you back. And now, let me flip this piece of paper over. And let's just see what this graphite looks like. Wow. Hello. I mean, I know I had a lot on my cap, but on that. Okay, could we see something a little less in your face? Let's see how you water down a little bit, please. You go green, don't you? Yes, you do. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but it is definitely greenage. Is that what I want? I think it might be. In very small doses. Okay. Bravery. What is that word? Courage goes to the... victory favors the bold, or I don't know. Okay, that's a lot. I'm going to offload the little pigments left on my brush there and see if I can soften that way the heck down. Yep. Even still, I'm going to take some of that water off. Water control, water control, water control. I like that. Watered way the heck down. That's great. It makes me think of Payne's Gray a little bit, but not as blue, which I happen to. It's nice to have an alternative that's not as blue. It's a little more neutral, a little more cool. Sorry. Cool? Is this more warm? Oh, darn. Don't get in my head right now. Okay. You know what? I should have tried to attempt to erase some more of these pencil lines, but here we are. You know what? I might actually attempt to get rid of some pencil lines here. Is this stuff dry? Yeah, it is right there. I'm sure you don't want to watch this. I'll be right back. Okay. I also added some water down here to the graphite so that hopefully it's not so I don't have to, well, I might need to add a bit more. Oh gosh, that's still, look at this. It's still just like, wow. Okay, all right. I understand. More water. Just feels like we keep adding water to this. And still getting super saturation. All right, I think we can get rid of this bad boy. We'll move Mr. Gray over here. Slowly. And then let's just see about filling in these pillows and diamonds. Without touching the other color, because we don't want it to bleed. That's the trick, isn't it? Yep. Yeah, it is. Some of these colors I'm really liking now that they're dry. And some of these colors I could, you know, never see again and be okay with that. And yeah, I think it's kind of optional to fill these diamonds and pillows in. But the person I saw doing this, gosh, I wish I could remember who that was, did it, and I thought, okay, I like that. So I'm just kind of, I tend to do the same thing. I do the same thing when I'm learning a new recipe in the kitchen. I will follow the instructions the first time. Make it the way the recipe says. If Ina Garten and Martha Stewart or whoever says do it this way, okay, I'm doing it that way. And then once I make it once, then the next time I make it, I think, you know, what would be really cool is to add a little more butter there, or add some garlic salt instead of regular salt, or, you know, whatever. Some tomato paste right here would be great. So I kind of do the same thing in my art. I see somebody on Pinterest or Somerset Studio or whatever, and I think, okay, and I kind of follow their way first, and in a way, in my own way though. And then I might go back and do it again, but this time I add the garlic salt. So this is following their way. Might have been Lou Davis, but don't quote me on that. I follow a lot of people on Instagram and YouTube, and everybody's got such great ideas, and I watch some things and I think, oh, I love that, and some things I watch and think, oh, hello, okay. And I think I don't love that, but the process was cool, and I could use that process in my own style. Anyway, the point is, I forget where I see stuff sometimes. And I saw this weeks ago. So it's not like I could go in my history, because I have YouTube on all day while I'm working. Yeah, I know. My iPad tells me, you had your screen on 18 hours yesterday. Yes, it's because I don't watch TV. I just have art videos on in the background. And YouTube's always suggesting some new ones for me, and then I find them and I binge watch everything they have, and I think, I want to do that, whatever that is. Do I? No. In a perfect world, would I? Absolutely. Like right now, I'm obsessed with watching, oh, I hate that word, people draw, I don't know what the right word is, wonky houses, wacky houses, whimsical houses, houses that are, I think of them like Dr. Seuss houses, because they're like bent and crooked and very Seussical to me. And I really have a penchant to do that. I consider my style illustrative when I do draw, and so it's, you know, in the realms of Beatrix Potter and, you know, that kind of illustrative. So I think that I could definitely pull off a whimsical house for sure. But have I? No. But have I been binge watching them? Yes. Yes, I have. And there's like 4 or 5 artists that I binge watch that do these really loose illustrative houses with wonky trees, and I love it. And I'll get to it. I was thinking about this other book over here that I found that I've made. I made 2 of them. I'm making that one be a wonky house book, because I could fill a whole book with wonky houses. I'm just telling you right now. Okay, I'm going to turn this a little bit. My hand wants me to turn it, and so turn it I shall. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm going just shy of the color. I'm just staying like a hair's breadth on the inside. I still think I'm going to use my gold pen. I do have to let this dry though before I can do that. Okay, I'm liking this graphite gray. I think you could probably achieve this though with considering the pigment was, where did it go now? And I've completely forgotten. PBK 10. Isn't that the same pigment as Lamp Black? Okay, look at me becoming a pigment nerd. Just kidding. No, PBK 6 is Lamp Black. But even still, couldn't you take a black and just water it? I mean, just put the smallest of dollops in your little palette and water the heck out of it and get the same result? Yes, you could. And I know an artist's palette is not supposed to have black, but send me a bill. Send me a strongly worded letter. I don't care. You thought I was going to say, but I'm not an artist, didn't you? Ha ha. I am an artist. It took me a long time to be able to say that without grimacing, flinching, blanching at the thought. Ooh, she's pulling out her SAT words. Yes, I am. Both of my parents were teachers, and for a while both of them taught English or social studies at the very minimum. And man, dinner at night was brutal. You couldn't finish your stories if you with the wrong verb tense, or you had to start over until you had the grammar correct when you were telling your funny story of the day. You know, punchlines lose their effectiveness when you have to start over 3 times. Assuming you're funny. Or the joke's funny. But my family are a bit of book nerds. I remember I was like 15. I went to stay with my grandmother for the summer. She was feeling poorly. That's a southern term for, oh, she was having spells. That's a southerner's term for she's sick. She had stacks and stacks of Reader's Digest sitting around her house, and I would find her doing the a page to increase your word power, or page to enrich your word power, or whatever it was. And I considered myself a little bit of a word nerd then, at 15. You know, 15, you think you've arrived. Anyhow, I would challenge her. I had the audacity, the temerity, the unmitigated gall to challenge her to several of those. And it was 20 words, right? And they increased in difficulty as you went down the list, as you got closer to the 20th word. 20 words? Well, now I'm doubting myself. Whatever the list was, it was a pretty decent list, and they got harder the further down the list you went. And I did really great, you know, the first third, the first half, I was doing okay. And then, you know, the back half, whew, it would kick my fanny. And I remember, you know, guessing and getting a few right here and there. And then I'd hand her the Reader's Digest, and I'd sit there with this little smug smirk on my face thinking, I got her this time. And wouldn't you know it, and it happened on repeat that whole summer. I'd get 10 or 11. She'd get 19. And she'd say, honey, I've just been living longer, that's all. That's not true. That was not all. She was a smart cookie. But she didn't want me to feel bad. She was pleased that I was trying, and that she was pleased that we had an area in which we could relate, I suppose. Because at 15, you know, I was pretty much of a snot-nosed kid at that point. Not good for much except shooting. I was there to babysit against my better judgment. But you know, what else are you going to do with the summer you're 15? You can't drive. I mean, really. I'm getting a little sloppier the further down I go here. I don't mind confessing. So some of these lines are getting in the other stuff, but I'm just going to, you know, this kind of makes me think of a quilt pattern. What do I think of right now? I'm thinking of a wedding ring or a double wedding. Oh, I don't know. Some of you quilt people out there will go, no, that's not that, it's this. And feel free to correct me. But suddenly, as I'm filling in these diamonds and pillows, I'm sticking to those names. They've been coined officially by me, by moi. I'm getting quilt vibes here. Which reminds me, I was going to do a quilt book. My mother loved making quilts. She was very good at it too. She made scores of them. That's not a literal number. It is a literal number. That's not an accurate number of how many she made, but it feels like it, especially when you're trying to figure out what to do with them all. But this gives me quilt vibes. Yep, definitely. And I'm here for it. I think I'm going to call this Bonnie's quilt. I'm going to name it. That was my mama. Bonnie Sue. This is Sue. How are you? Alright. We've got a couple more of these pillows and diamonds, and then we're going to let this bad boy dry good before we get that gel pen out, because nothing will clog a roller ball faster than some pigment getting all jammed up in it because your paint isn't dry. And I'm not inclined to get the hair dryer out, aka the heat tool. When it was 40 degrees outside, that's one thing, but it is not 40 degrees outside. So we're going to just let this dry the old-fashioned way. Time. Okay. I think we are done with this phase, and I'm happy with that graphite gray, and I am ready to do the gold next. See you in a minute. Okay, we're dry. Ready to do a little outlining. I'm going to pull the camera down just a little so you can see a little better. Now, I know you could use some gold watercolor or acrylic paint or just about anything, really. I'm going to give this a go. I'm just going to start the pen off screen here, and now I'm just going to do some liney poos. It's a very official term. And I'm probably going to have to do some more erasing when I'm done. I see a lot of lines, pencil lines still, but yeah, that this broad tip uniball is kind of correcting a bunch of errors. Just things that don't fit or things that are missing. I don't expect this gold pen to, you know, be the next coming of Elvis or anything, but I think it'll tie it together, my quilt. And I already like it, so I think the gold pen will just, gold outline will just solidify the like. Oopsie. Helps if you stay on the line. Staying in the lines is optional. This was fun. Maybe I'll start a quilt series instead of a pattern series. We'll do, you know, flying geese and something, whatever the stars are called, and I don't know. That could be fun. You know, that just gave me an idea. What if I did like a seasonal quilt pattern, like I did, you know, a shamrock quilt and a, I don't know, spring quilt and a 4th of July quilt in those colors. I mean, obviously you could take the same, well, you could vary up the pattern, because I think doing the same pattern all the time could get really kind of boring. But what if I did, yeah, now I'm really not caring about these lines so much, am I? So much for cleaning up the lines if I don't stay in them. That's a neat idea, a quilt series. Because I love quilts. Dawn, stay in the line. I'm pulling, but even still, it's giving me a little resistance once in a while. It hits a certain piece of the paper and it goes whoop. No, you don't. Yeah, I'm thinking a quilt series might be fun. And then make the quilt, you know, color coordinated for that season, for that, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes my mouth and my brain are disconnected. But I'm sure I'm the only one that ever experiences that. Get it back up here so I don't accidentally forget to move the book. You can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing now anyway. And we missed that by a mile. Funny how smooth this feels. Sometimes after you've painted something, whether it be acrylic or watercolor, it doesn't always feel good. This feels very velvety. Which I'm not mad about. Velvety sounds good to me. Not that I go around wallowing on my paintings, but as I'm sitting here doing the line work, it feels good underneath my hand. And I do like what the gold pen is doing for some of the places where my edges are a little weird. It just freshens those up. I do like that part of it, for sure. Yeah, this is looking good. I'm liking that. Let me lift it up higher so you can get a little bit of a... See if I can get the light to pick up the gold. Well, not really. But it is definitely there. And I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. I think if you wanted some thicker lines, you could go over it twice. Or you could get out some acrylic paint or some gouache or some gold watercolor. And I may go back over some of these lines and do like a double line on them, especially like on the outside. I don't know. Sometimes I like to sit with things for a while though first before I go back and make a big decision like that. I like to... It's not a big decision, it's just paper after all, but what I mean is what I like to do sometimes is just kind of sit with the... Alright, we did one line, let's just come back. Do you ever do that? Do you ever like if you're unsure about something that you're working on, an art piece or whatever, even arranging the furniture in your room, I find that if I leave the room, both in the furniture arrangement and in the painting, and then I come back into the room 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, an hour later, a day later, doesn't matter. Give yourself some time to get a little perspective away from it. Then I come back in the room and I go, oh, I like that piece, that art piece I painted so much better than I did the first time when I first did it. Or, oh, now I know what it needs. Or, oh, that dresser over there looks terrible. Let's move it back to where it was. It looked better. It works for a lot of things. But it definitely works with your art. Walk away from it. Put it in a drawer. Put it across the room. Take a photo of it. That's some of the best advice I've ever been given, is take a photo of it and look at it. Why you see things differently through a photo when you're sitting right there, it's beyond my comprehension, but that is the way it works. That is the way of the universe. Okay, we're coming down to it here. This has been a fun little practice. I hope you give it a try, but even if you don't, I hope you get your paints out and just splash a little paint on some paper once in a while. I try to do it every day. It's not always reasonable to do so, but I try. Because I feel like a daily art practice or a daily art habit helps your skills. Helps me. I also feel like it's good for my sense of well-being and this meditative approach to seeing things in a slower pace. I know there's people out there that say when you do things with your hands, there's just some mental health benefits that come from that. And who can't benefit from that? I don't care how good your current state of mind is. We can all benefit from serotonin or whatever it is that happens when you're doing something with your hands. And what I know for sure is the way people get hangry when they don't get enough food. I get a little art angry if I don't make art once in a while. And it doesn't have to be every day, but for me, it needs to be fairly frequently. That creative itch needs scratching. So find a way. And that's what I've been trying to do for years now, and I think I finally got it where my life is set up where I can do that with my space and my supplies and priorities. Well, thanks for joining me again. This was fun. Ready to do another one, but now maybe in a theme, maybe a shamrock one, maybe a green one. I don't know. We'll have to see. But thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.